Hello everyone and welcome to a book video. I feel like I'm traveling in time right now, sitting down on my floor with a stack of books next to me, about to go through a niche trope and recommend you books because I've just been in the mood to talk about tropes again, and it's been a long time since I've done a sit-down book trope recommendation video. I used to do these. It was actually all I did back in the day when I first started YouTube in probably like 2021. I would just pick a super niche trope and recommend you a bunch of books that fit into it. And I haven't done it in a while because I don't have a backlist of books as long as I used to now that I've already talked about everything. But I thought enough time has passed. It's been years since I've done a video like this. And one, I miss it. Two, I feel like I'm due for like an updated version of the tropes that I've already done. I can redo them now because it's been so long that I have so many more books to talk about. So this video is going to be my favorite small town romances. Most of these are series just because small town romances tend to end up being companion novel series, which I love. This is my favorite genre. I don't care what type of romance it is. If it's set in a small town, I'm probably gonna love it. Something about reading about like a community and a found family within like a small town is just gonna do it for me every single time. It reminds me of like Gilmore Girls. I've always wanted to live in a little town like that feels like you know everybody, but like in a good way. Like there's like characters that you actually like enjoy reading about, especially when you get books about all different characters. So I have a huge stack of books next to me of all of my favorite small town romances. This isn't all the ones I've read. These are just the ones I genuinely really like and want to recommend to you. I'm trying to see where I should start because I have so many little subcategories in this video. What should I start with? There's books all in front of me. I'm gonna start with a series that I don't think I've talked about on my channel before, and it's Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles. This is the Sparrow Falls series. I've read 3 of them. I think there's 4 or 5 out now. I need to catch up. These were all on Kindle Unlimited, which made it really easy and fun for me to read because sometimes like I don't want to like scroll and go through my TBR and find a book. I just go on Kindle Unlimited and the first one that speaks to me, I read it. And this was one of the ones that actually was good. Sometimes those books are hit or miss when I do that, but these books, as cliche as they are the most perfect palate cleanser or books to get you out of a slump. They're so quick. I think I've read all of them in one sitting. Besides being from a small town, the first one is between an FBI profiler and his best friend's little sister, she's in her 20s. His best friend's sister, who has a stalker, so he's super protective of her. It's Grumpy Sunshine. This whole series I feel like is kind of damsel in distress. If you don't like that, I normally like wouldn't reach for that, but something about these, so cliche but so good, because every single one, basically the girl is in danger in some way and the guy ends up saving her by the end. There's little things that keep happening that just don't add up. He like starts working on the case, they fall in love. He does not want to be with her at all because it's like forbidden, and this is all set in a small town. Then the next book, I think the next 2 are about both of her brothers, and it's the same kind of tropes. I'm pretty sure the girl in the second one, I could be getting the second and third one mixed up. I read them all so quickly that they kind of all blend together in my head, but they're like the perfect books to read if you're in a slump. And it's found family, such a cute friend group in a small town, but it keeps you on your toes because it has that like mystery element in each one. In one of the second or the third ones, the girl gets kidnapped. Like the drama is actually real. There's stalkers, kidnappings, near-death experiences. The second or third one, I think she's on the run from her ex-boyfriend who's crazy, and then she falls in love with the small town boy who's protective of her. They're just addicting, and I really recommend them. I feel like I've never really seen people talking about them, so I thought I would. I feel like similar to that, if we're talking about that type of small town romance, the Eden series by Devney Perry, this is Indigo Ridge, the first one, is very similar, except in this one, I'm pretty sure she's like the sheriff, and he's part of this family, the Eden's family, which is like the most well-known family in the town. It's a really small town. I'm pretty sure they're like a founding family of the town. It's all different siblings, and each of the siblings get their own book. So this one is with the chief of police. There's a murder mystery element in this where she's kind of cracking that case, so it's similar to Fragile Sanctuary in that way. My favorite book in the series is the second one, Juniper Hill. It was single mom, small town boy, and I think there's like 5 or 6 books out in this series now. Set in a small town, very cozy, and also not just a romance, like it has the mystery element, especially in this one. I feel like I need to go on to my cowboy subdivision of this because a small town romance with a cowboy trope, please. So these are all connected. You guys know Elsie Silver is probably in my top 3 authors of all time, romance-wise. First series, actually, I feel like this is the most underrated that people haven't read. The Gold Rush Ranch series, which this series actually comes before Chestnut Springs, which I think is her most well-known series. But this is the first series, which it's not my favorite because you could tell it's like her first series, but these are all horse-related romances, and I love horses, so I love that. These ones are not necessarily cowboys, but there's like horse trainer, horse racing, working on a horse farm, on ranches, all in a small town. All of them are friends, found family. The first one is Reverse Grumpy Sunshine, which I feel like is an underrated trope and they don't do it enough, where like the girl is like the super serious and kind of mean one. Then there's also Age Gap, brother's best friend in this series, enemies to lovers. There's a lot of good ones in this series. I really liked the tropes that she chose for this series. I feel like she was like taking bolder risks before she did Chestnut Springs. So if you've read Chestnut Springs and you need more Elsie Silver, you should read The Gold Rush Ranch. This one is off to the races. It's the first book. The second book is actually about Violet Eaton, who's the Chestnut Springs boy's sister, and she actually has her own book in this series, so you get to see a little glimpse of her life, and I really like these. But obviously my favorite of all these is the Chestnut Springs series. It's one of my favorite series of all time. Interconnected standalones, cowboy romances. The first one, he's a bull rider. It's like The Longest Ride. She's kind of his PR publicist. It's also his boss's daughter, and the romance is so good. And then it just keeps getting better. The second one, Heartless, is my favorite. It's Age Gap, single dad, so good. Then there's Childhood Friends to Lovers, Good Girl, Bad Boy. There's so many good ones in this series, and they're all set on the same family ranch, and they're all best friends, and they have like those family dinners you get to read about, all their little interactions with each other, and it's so good. I feel like you've probably already read this if you watch my videos, but if you haven't and you're gonna read anything I recommend you in this video, I would read the Chestnut Springs series. They're literally addicting. I tell everyone to read them. I've made everyone read them that I like know that reads. I love them so much. Then there's a spin-off series to that, which is the Rose Hill series. This is Wild Love, the first book. These are not necessarily cowboy romances. These are just small town romances. Like the first one, he's a billionaire and owns a recording studio and then falls in love with his childhood friend, but it's also brother's best friend. Then in the second one, it's like Sunshine Boy, One of Us is Famous trope. She's like the biggest pop star in the world, which I loved the switch up. Like I feel like I've never really read that many of that trope. There's actually another one in this video I'll talk about next. That one was probably my favorite. And then the third one, which came out kind of recently, was kind of like single mom, sort of. She gets custody of her sister's son, and then they actually have joint custody. So she's sharing custody with this man that she doesn't know, and they fall in love. And it's really good. And I'm pretty sure all of these books are gonna be single dad in some way, because he's also single dad in this one, and he's single dad in the second one, and single dad in the third one. I think that's like the niche trope of this series, but it doesn't feel repetitive because they do it in a completely different way in each one. If you don't like kids in books, then maybe don't read this series because they all have kids in them. But they're such a good small town romances, and you also get to see characters from those previous series in these, which is always fun. This series, this is When in Rome by Sarah Adams, and this is a series now too. There's 2 other books similar to Chestnut Springs, not cowboy romances, but they're small town. This one I feel like is the most similar to Gilmore Girls. Like if you need a Gilmore Girls feel good quick book, these are gonna do it for you, because the way that like the small town, the gossip, the characters that you get to know throughout the town, like the old ladies and the people that come to the bakery. This one is One of Us is Famous. She's also the most famous pop star in the world in this book, but her car breaks down in a small town in front of this grumpy man's house, and he has to help her with her car. He doesn't really know who she is. She ends up staying with him, like living with him for a short amount of time. It was really good. He did not want to fall in love with her, but of course he did anyway, and I really enjoyed it. Then the second one in this series is Bad Boy, Good Girl, Bodyguard trope. The third one we actually read on Patreon for book club, which was Beg, Borrow, or Steal. That one was kind of enemies, rivals to lovers, a different vibe, but it's all about different siblings. He's the oldest brother. They've lost both their parents, and then you're watching them form this found family, and I thought it was really cute. And they keep hinting at this childhood friends to lovers storyline that I think is going to be the next book, and I'm so excited. Like you can see his best friend has been pining after this sister, and she has been like dating other people. She moved to New York, and I think they're going to be the 4th book. And I'm very excited, but I love this series. I really recommend it. I think it's underrated. Another underrated one is In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I've been talking about this book for years. I remember when I first read it, I made it my whole personality because it was so cute. This one is also single dad, small town, they're neighbors. So he is like this super shy, quiet, reserved guy. Well, he was when they were in high school. They knew each other in high school, the guy and the girl. She was super popular, but he always had a crush on her. She did not know that. And then she moved away, went to the big city, and then ended up inheriting this house that's right next door to his. So she ends up moving back to her hometown. He's not that shy, nerdy guy anymore. And she starts falling in love with him. And then he's always been in love with her, and it was so good. I actually want to reread, like, talking about this like is making me have butterflies, and like I want to giggle and kick my feet and reread this. So I might go download this on my Kindle and binge read it tonight. I love a neighbor trope, I love a boy obsessed trope, and it's dual point of view, because I remember when it switched to his point of view and we find out that he's always been in love with her, I was like, okay. Next I have a few from the same author, different series though. So first, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is a really famous book, so I feel like I don't really have to talk too much about it. It's Grumpy Sunshine. This is probably my favorite Lucy Score book. This is a series though. I did not like the second one in the series, Things We Hide from the Light. And then whatever the third one was, I did like. I love the romance in this book. I love Grumpy Sunshine. That's what this was. I didn't love the second one that much because it was like friends with benefits to lovers, which is like not my favorite trope. And then the third one was childhood friends to enemies to lovers, which is such an underrated, not done enough trope. Lucy Score sometimes is hit or miss for me, but this one hit. I also read Forever Never by Lucy Score. I read this in a reading vlog like a year or two ago, and when I was reading it in the beginning, I was like, this is gonna be 5 stars, like it's so good. And then it was just way too long. It wasn't bad, it was just too long. This one was childhood friends to lovers, small town. It's set in Mackinac Island in Michigan, which I think is why I loved it, because of that small town feel, and it's a place I've always wanted to go. It's set on like a little island and you can't drive cars there. You can only walk around everywhere. So it's like so small and so cute. There's a little bit of an age gap. So he's like really protective of her, never wanted to like pursue her romantically or anything like that. But then she moved away from the small town, went to the city, and then comes back and she's like a completely different person. She's like traumatized. She used to be like so happy and sunshine and everyone loved her. And then now she's like sad and depressed, and he wants to find out what's wrong with her, and they fall in love. It was just way too long and very smutty, which is like not my favorite thing. So I probably did like this series better. I think this series really had that kind of cozy feeling. Another such a cozy book, questionably the coziest book written of all time, is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is one of my OG favorite books. Like I read this when I was like 17 and it was like my favorite book at that time, and I haven't really reread it in recent years. It still in my head is up there with my favorites. Such the opposite of like a normal romance that I read. It's super innocent boy, quiet, shy. He actually like doesn't speak at all, and he has a really traumatic, tragic backstory. The main character of this book moves to this small town. She just wants to go somewhere quiet. Everyone in the town kind of like casts this man aside and is like, stay away from him, he's weird, he's like dangerous, and she doesn't listen to them, and she's really attracted to him, and they strike up a friendship. He's so innocent, and she like kind of teaches him how to be in a relationship, and it's like kind of a slow burn, but it's very wholesome and just cozy. And I'm pretty sure it's set at a small town on a lake, but the whole time I was just on my trip to Maine, I was thinking about how this was so Archer's Voice coded. I don't know what state this actually takes place in, but it's so cozy and so cute. Going back to another cowboy romance, this is Here With Me by Brooke Montgomery. This is also a series I've read a couple books of. This one is the one that stands out the most to me because it is ex-boyfriend's dad trope, which is crazy, I know. But her boyfriend like cheated on her or something crazy, like he was evil, and then she starts dating his dad. But in her defense and in his defense, she never met the dad. She didn't know it was his dad. She didn't know. They didn't know that. They just met in a different way, and it just happened to be his dad. And he was a young dad, okay? Me trying to defend it. She's also like in her late 20s, I think, so I don't think it's like weird, but like obviously like that's a little bit taboo. So if that's not what you're into, then skip this one. But it was fun, and I read it in one sitting. I remember just turning the page, waiting for the ex-boyfriend to find out, because I was like, that's just like the funniest karma in the world. She's literally gonna be your stepmom. Like that's hilarious. But another cowboy romance series that I really like is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and this also has 3 books. I recently read the new one that came out, which was Enemies to Lovers Best Friend's Brother, which is like a little bit different. Really liked it. I also really liked this one, which was Brother's Best Friend. It's such a small town that they're all intermingling, okay? Their friends are all hooking up with each other. Similar vibes to Chestnut Springs. I obviously don't love it as much, but I know people really love this series. I think I've given all of them 4 stars. Actually, I didn't love the second one that much. I feel like this one was so boy down bad, brother's best friend, and they kept it a secret from the brother because they thought the brother was gonna freak out and be like so mad, which like he was. The brother ends up doing the same thing and getting with her best friend, so like huge big drama for no reason. This is definitely a good Cowboy series if you need one. On a completely different note, this is a novel. This Will Change Your Life beach read by Emily Henry. Pretty sure everyone and their grandma and their goldfish has read this, but if you haven't, get out from under the rock you're living under and go read it, because this is the best Emily Henry book, and Emily Henry books are all 5 stars. This is a woman's fiction, so it's not exactly entirely romance. It's more of like a character development kind of story with like a deep plot and a romance happening at the same time. So her dad actually had just passed away. She's going to his lake house to kind of clean it out and go through all his stuff. And the person living next door happens to be her rival from college that she was always competing with. They're both writers. They were kind of like enemies, but more of like academic rivalry kind of situation. And now they live in this small town together for the summer. They're helping each other. She's on like a grief journey, self-discovery journey. She's trying to fall back in love with writing, and they end up helping each other and working together. And they're complete opposite people on the outside, and they basically go on all of these like field trips throughout the book to help each other write. They fall in love, obviously, but it's so good. And I love Emily Henry. I have nothing more to say besides I love her. If you need a slow burn, if you need something that's going to make you feel every single feeling you've ever felt in your life just because the 2 characters looked at each other from across the room, All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. Honestly, any Mariana Zapata book, because the characters literally don't kiss until like, actually, I'm being dramatic, this far. Like, you have to read this much before they touch, but it's never boring. It's like so well done, the build up and the chemistry, that you don't even realize they haven't really done anything yet, except for the fact that like you're like, oh my god, when are you guys gonna just like break this tension? That's how you'll feel reading any of her books. They're all so good, but this one is one of my favorites. It's single dad. I think there's a little bit of an age gap. Female main character goes back to this small town because it's where her mom actually went missing, and she returns to this small town. She meets Rhodes, single dad, grumpy, will not give her the time of day, but she's renting his guest house, so it's forced proximity. And the build-up is so good. It's really cute because she strikes up a really good bond with his son, and I think that's what like made him start being intrigued by her. And then he gets so protective of her, and like the way that I was waiting for them to like confess their feelings this entire book, like I was on the edge of my seat, and every single moment of tension between them is palpable. Like, it's just so good. Okay, next, this one is fresh on my mind because I just read the new release, is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is also a companion novel series, but I think it's 4 books, but they're not really connected. But this one is connected to One Golden Summer, which everyone's been talking about. It was our book club book on Patreon last month. If you've read One Golden Summer and you haven't read Every Summer After, or vice versa, I think you should read them both. This one is past and present perspective. This family goes back to this lake house every summer. Her childhood best friends live there. They were falling in love, the girl and the younger brother. This whole summer, they've been best friends forever, and then something bad happens between them. You don't know what. You're going back and forth between the present and the past. You're watching them fall in love as kids and then reunite as adults, and they haven't talked in like 11 years or something crazy. And then they're finally speaking again and falling in love again as adults. And it was really good. And then at the end, you find out what happened between them, and it's like, oh, that's messy. Then you get, in One Golden Summer, you get the older brother's book of his romance, which I just finished reading, and that one was really cute because it was a like summer bucket list book. So it takes place at this lake again, and he meets a girl who has decided she's going to follow this summer bucket list, and they're like in their 30s, like they're not teenagers, but she wants to have like a teenage summer. She's kind of having like a life crisis, and so is he, and they're both like, let's fulfill this list. And they go through the whole thing and they fall in love, and it was really, really cute. I loved the male main character in One Golden Summer a lot. I love both characters. But next is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is again one of my OG favorite books. I think it's so underrated. This is Grumpy Sunshine. She actually is going to visit her dad. She finds out her dad is sick. She hasn't talked to him in years, and he lives in Alaska, and she flies there to go spend his like last few months with him. So like kind of depressing and really sad. But she flies to Alaska. She's from the city. She's immediately greeted by this pilot who's taking her to this small secluded town, and he's the grumpiest, meanest guy ever, and they fall in love. Duh. But it's cool little switch up of setting because this one's in Alaska, which is different. There's like a scene where I think they get stuck in like a cabin in the snow. Like, cool setting, fun, such a cute romance. Literally butterflies. I remember this one scene, they like hated each other, but then he like had her pinned up against a wall or a door or something. That's all that's vivid in my head right now, but it's so good. Next is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This is the Lakefront Billionaires series, which is an interconnected series taking place at a lake, small town. This one is childhood friends to lovers. These were a little bit long. I'm pretty sure I listened to the audiobook of this one when I was on a road trip. I can't remember exactly. I can't really remember, but I remember loving it when I was reading it. The last book I'm going to talk about in today's video, there's just so many books, is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This book is another one of those tropes where she's a city girl, but she gets punished because she like throws some huge party at her dad's mansion, and she gets punished and she has to go to the small town that her dad grew up in and rebuild this bar that she inherited. Like, her and her sister inherited this bar from the town that they're from, and they're like LA party city girls, and now they have to go to this small fishing town and rebuild this bar. I don't know where this takes place, but it was low-key giving Maine. But like, the paparazzi are following her around. She shows up this town and this guy is like, I hate her and everything she stands for, but I need to have her. But he doesn't actually think like that. Like, he actually hates her at first, and he's like a deep sea fisherman and he's so serious. And then she comes in with her high heels and the paparazzi following her, and he's like, what the hell's going on in our little small fishing town? And then she's renovating this bar, and she actually like learned a lot about herself, and he gets to know her and realize she's not just like some shallow girl. And yeah, this book also is part of a series. I remember I read Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is about her sister, and I really liked that one too. Very cozy again. But I think those are all the books that I'm going to talk about in today's video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, 18, 19 books, and all of them are almost part of a series, so I probably just recommended you like 50 books. If you needed a small town romance, I hope you are satisfied now. You just made a very long TBR, because I know I've been craving a good small town romance. So if you have a recommendation for me, I'd really appreciate that, because I feel like I've sought out almost every small town romance ever. So if you have any recommendations of ones that aren't on this list or ones I haven't read, I'd really appreciate that. But I feel like I've been talking so much, so I'm gonna stop now. It feels really good to be talking about books and recommending books again. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to follow me on my other social medias, they're all linked down below as always. So is my Goodreads, and so is my book club if you want to join. And I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!